Hello everyone and welcome to yet another video from the Best of CET series. So today we have an interesting topic from logical reasoning, which is input-output. I'm going to show you the question, take about 2 to 3 minutes to work out the logic of that question, and then I'll show you all the questions which are based on it, and you can pause for about 3 minutes and try to solve those questions. So let me first show you the question.
If you like our content and want to experience the IMS pedagogy, you can join the IMS Zero Fee Prep programs that will give you access to concept videos, sectionals, full-length tests and more for free. You may click on the I button or on the link in the description box below to access the same. Happy learning!
So this is the question that you have. So there is a word and number arrangement machine and that is given an input which is a line of words and numbers. Now there is a particular rule that it is following, and based on that there are some steps. So this is also called sequential output. So you have step 1 to step 5, and step 5 is the last arrangement of the above entire sequence that is happening. So that is the intended arrangement, and for the question you are given a sequence and you have to figure out what will be the intermediate steps and the final step. So let me show you the question now. So this is the question that you have. The input is Brown 12, Sawant 72, Dawn 56, Atom 84 on 31. Now using the logic that you saw previously, you have to work out what the intermediate steps will be and then answer these 3 questions. As I said, 3 minutes should be sufficient to answer these questions, and 2 minutes is what you need to take to work out the initial sequence. Alright, so I hope you were able to solve this one. Now let's look at what the logic is. Generally input-output questions are a little difficult, and that is why you might take slightly more than a minute per question to answer these. So when you look at this sequence, firstly you will have to look at this and understand what is the entire logic. While you are doing so, the first thing that you will have to do is look at the output and look at what is happening from input to step 1. That will tell you how many movements are happening. So here if I look at first of all step 5, now this is the outcome, right? So you know that in the outcome you have all the words that are coming together, and then you have all the numbers that are coming together. So clearly there is some sort of a transformation that is happening here which you can use to answer this particular question. Now here if I look at what is happening from input to step 1, I will get an idea as to how many things are moving or how many numbers or letters or words or whatever it is that is making a movement. So here if I see, is 35 visible? Now the first word that I see in step 1 is crane, which means crane as a word has made a movement from here to the beginning. Now after this, if I try to find what happens to crane, it starts moving towards the center. So you will see that initially it is the first word, then it is the second word in step 2, third word in step 3, then fourth in step 4 and fifth in step 5. So it starts moving inwards. Let me also see what is happening with the rest of the elements from input to step 1. So we figured that okay, crane is making a movement. After that is as it is, 35 remains the same, visible, 28, rupee, 64, they are not making any sort of a movement here. But if you look at this 15, that is making a movement towards the end, which means that the smallest number that you have is making a movement at the end. And if I trace what is happening to that, I will see that again it starts moving towards the center in every subsequent step that is out there. So the logic is simple, that you basically pick the first alphabetically correct word that is there, and then you start moving it towards the center, and then you do the same thing for the number as well. So you take the smallest number, put it at the end, and then start moving it towards the center. Now let's come back to our input. So the input is Brown, 12, Sawant and so on. Now here the first thing that I will do is try to find which is the word that will make a movement. So this is going to be atom, alphabetically the first word. So that will come in the beginning, right? And after that I just need to start moving it towards the center. So this is how the movement will be, right? So atom will go initially first and then will start moving towards the center. I am going to do this for number 12 as well because that is the smallest number that we have. Put it towards the end and then start moving it towards the center, right? So this is how the movement will be for 12. Now the last thing that is there, which is step 5, is possibly the easiest to find simply because you just have to arrange the numbers in increasing order. So what you are going to have is after 12, the next number is 31, the next is 56, the next is 72, and the next is 84, right? That is how the last step will be. And for the words that are there, you have to just put it in the reverse alphabetical order, or since I have used atom here, the next alphabetically correct is going to be Dawn, which I will write here, or other, sorry, brown, this is going to be brown. So let me write brown first, and then I am going to write Dawn. Okay. Now after this you are going to have on, and after this you are going to have sort. Now if I want to write the intermediate steps, it should not take me a lot of time to do this. So you have to decide for the questions whether you actually need to write all the intermediate steps or you can solve the questions without doing so. So here for example, if I want to write the step 1, how do I write it quickly? Atom we have already used, right? And number 12 we have already put it at the end. So if I want to write the remaining, they are just going to be in the same sequence. So I will write brown, then we are going to have sort, then we will have 72, we will have Dawn, so I am just going to write D this time. We are going to have 56, we will have 84, right? We are going to have, after that we are going to have on, and we are going to have 31. So using this logic, you can write down all the intermediate steps if at all that is required. Otherwise, if you can directly jump to questions and try to answer them, that should also be fine. So what I'm going to show you, of course, is all the intermediate step on the next slide, and then we'll simply start answering the questions. So coming to the first question that we had, which of the following will be sixth from the right end of step 2 for the given input? Now these are all the steps that I've written in case you require them. Which of the following will be sixth from the right end of step 2? So we are just focusing on step 2 this time, and sixth from the right end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is going to be the word Dawn. Let's go to the next question. Which of the following is step 3 for the given input? Now here, since I have already written it, it should be very easy for us to answer. So we have Dawn, brown, atom and sort. So that's the first 4 words that we are going to have in sequence. And at the end, we are going to have on, 12, 31 and 56, right? So I can see that happening here. And of course, the remaining, which are 72 and 84, they are going to be in the center. So we have our answer, which is answer option A. Now let's come to the last question. Now think for a moment, do you really need to solve all of this to answer this particular question? And you will encounter these situations in the exam where sometimes you just see a question and you realize that without writing the intermediate steps, the answer is still possible. Why? Because if you look at how many words are there and how many numbers are there are 5 words and 5 numbers. Now when you are arranging them, you will have to make a movement of the word towards the beginning and then move it towards the center. For number, take it at the end, bring it to the center. You will definitely require 5 steps to do that because you have 5 numbers and you have 5 words. And that is why even without writing all of this, you could have simply answered this one question just by looking at it, that you will need 5 steps to arrive at the intended arrangement. So I hope you enjoyed this particular set. It was not a very difficult one. I think if you had 5 questions on this, a total of about 5 minutes should have been sufficient. The initial 2 to possibly crack the logic and write down the sequence, and then remaining 3 minutes to answer the 5 questions. So total 5 minutes for 5 questions should have been sufficient if let's say there were 5 questions on this. So I hope you have liked this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.